Okay, good morning to everyone. Now we are in mechanical actuation systems. Okay, in previous class, I have explained about the mechanisms. What is link? What is joint? What is the inversion of mechanism? And simple mechanisms like four-bar chain mechanism and crank and slider mechanism, and inversions of these two mechanisms I have explained. Okay, and I have shown a video. I will show that video. See this uh, inversion of mechanism. Inversion means by fixing the different links of the kinematic chain, we can get different mechanisms. Okay, and main simple mechanisms used in mechanical engineering is four-bar chain mechanism and crank and slider mechanism. And by fixing the different links of these two mechanisms, we get different mechanisms, so different inversions of mechanisms. Okay, and now so this is the four-bar chain mechanism. We have four inversions because we have four links. So by fixing the uh, four four links in different times, we get different mechanisms. And inversions of four-bar chain mechanism is double crank mechanism and crank and lever mechanism and double lever mechanism. Okay, uh, and Watt mechanism. These are the inversions of the four-bar chain mechanism. And slider crank mechanism, we have different inversions. Okay, what are the inversions of the slider crank mechanism? Uh, by fixing the different links, we get different mechanisms. And hand pump, okay, crank and slotted lever mechanism, Whitworth mechanism, okay, oscillating cylinder and rotary engine. All these are the examples, inversions of the slider crank mechanism. And we have one more mechanism as a double slider mechanism and elliptical trammel, okay. Oh, and Scotch yoke mechanism and Oldham's coupling. These are the inversions of double slider crank mechanism. Okay, and now we see, you can see the different inversions of these four simple mechanisms. Okay, this is the four-bar chain mechanism because we have four links. The link which is rotating complete revolution about certain point is called crank, and the link which is oscillating is called lever, and there is a connecting rod coupler between the crank and lever. Now we see the inversions of four-bar chain mechanism. What is the first inversion? Coupled wheels, locomotive coupled wheels. This is the first inversion of the four-bar chain mechanism. This is called double crank mechanism because here two levers are rotating. Two links are makes complete revolution. That's why it is called double crank mechanism. Okay, locomotive wheels is the best example, best application of double crank mechanism. This is the one of the inversion of the four-bar chain mechanism. Next one is, this is the second inversion of the four-bar chain mechanism. This is called crank lever mechanism. Okay, one element means one link is makes complete revolutions, that is called crank, and one element is oscillating, this is called lever. So here we have one crank and lever, that's why it is called crank and lever mechanism. Okay, Watt engine is the best example for crank and lever mechanism. And pantograph, okay, this is used for producing the similar drawings. Okay, this is also double lever mechanism. This is also example for four-bar inversion of four-bar mechanism. And next one is Watt mechanism. This is also double lever mechanism. Okay, this is used as a crank for watt engine at the beginning days. Next one is inversions of slider crank mechanism. Here we have a crank and a connecting rod and a slider which is sliding in the cylinder. This is called crank and slider mechanism. This is a simple mechanism. By fixing the different links of the crank slider mechanism, we get different inversions. Okay, hand pump is the one inversion of the crank and slider mechanism. Okay, this is the lever, this is the slider. Okay, this is also one inversion of the crank and slider crank mechanism. Next one more inversion, that is the oscillating cylinder. Here cylinder is oscillating. Okay, this is also one inversion of the crank and slider mechanism. These are the inversions, means by fixing different links we get different mechanisms according to applications. We are fixing the links. This is oscillating cylinder. Your cylinder is oscillating about certain pivot. Next one is crank and slotted lever mechanism. This is used in shaper. Okay, this is also inversion of the slider crank mechanism. Next, this is the Whitworth mechanism. This is also inversion of the slider crank mechanism. This is also used in shaper for quick return motion and for converting the rotary motion into reciprocating motion in shaper. Next, this is the rotating cylinder. This is also inversion of the slider crank mechanism. Here crank is fixed. Okay, and we are getting the rotation, single rotation with different pistons are sliding here, but total every piston is connected to the single crank. This is called rotary engine. This is also inversion of slider crank mechanism. This is the double slider mechanism, is the elliptical Trammell method. It is used for drawing the ellipse. Next one is, this is the yoke mechanism, stroke yoke mechanism. Okay, this is used for converting the rotary motion into reciprocating motion by using crank and slider mechanism. And the last one is Oldham coupling. You know this coupling is used for connecting the two shafts which are not in a line. Okay, the shafts which are in eccentric manner means which are offset, means which has some offset distance between the shafts. Those are connected by using Oldham coupling. Here also we have double slider mechanism. This is the inversion of the double slider mechanism. These are the different mechanisms obtained by the fixing the different links of the 4-bar chain mechanism and crank and slaughter mechanisms. Okay, we have two basic mechanisms. By using inversions, we can make different mechanisms with the help of 4-bar chain and slider crank mechanism. Okay, here I want to specially discuss about two mechanisms, that is crank and slotted lever mechanism and Whitworth mechanism. Okay, already you know. Okay, once again I will explain about crank and slotted lever mechanism and Whitworth mechanism, which is used in the shaper. This mechanism is used for converting the rotary motion into reciprocating motion, and one more advantage is we get quick return in the return stroke of the shaper. Okay, which is idle stroke. Okay, in that idle stroke we can move the ram in quick manner by using this crank and slotted lever mechanism and Whitworth mechanism. Okay, now we see these two mechanisms. Okay, this is the crank and slotted lever mechanism. Okay, see this. This is the shaper. Okay, crank and slotted lever mechanism is used in the shaper. See this. First we see the parts of the crank and slotted lever mechanism. See this. Here, these are the parts of the crank and slotted lever mechanism used for converting the rotary motion into reciprocating motion. Here we have a pinion. Okay, this pinion is connected to the motor. Okay, this pinion is rotated with the help of motor, and this pinion is connected to the bull gear. Means this bull gear is rotated with the help of pinion. And this bull gear, we have a slider. The slider is connected to the bull gear, and the slider is moving in the slotted link. This is the slotted lever. The slider is moving in the slotted link, and the slider at the top part of the slotted link is connected to the ram. See this. This is the ram of the shovel. This is the rocker arm, means the slotted link, and this is bull gear. This is pinion. Okay, this is the slider. Okay, this is the crank pin. Now we see the movement of this crank and slotted lever mechanism. This is the forward stroke. Okay, forward stroke. Okay, the slider is moving from here to here. Return stroke. This is the return stroke of this crank and slotted lever mechanism. Okay, these are the parts of the crank and slotted lever mechanism. See this. This is the slider rotation. Okay, in forward stroke, the slider makes an angle that is alpha. Okay, this is more than 180 degrees, and return stroke, the angle covered by the slider is beta, that is less than 180 degrees. Here, compare these two angles. Okay, this is the forward stroke and return stroke. The angle covered by the slider is more when compared with the angle covered by the slider in the return stroke. That's why the return stroke is quick when compared with the forward stroke. Okay, in this way we can get quick return stroke. Okay, which is idle stroke, which is not cutting stroke. Okay, in this way we get the quick return stroke. Okay, here the crank and slotted lever mechanism is converting the rotary motion into reciprocating motion. At the same time, we get the quick return stroke. Okay, because angle covering is very less when compared with the angle covering in the forward stroke. I think you know, that's why I am quickly explain. Don't worry. I think you have learned all those things in the kinematics of machines. And second one is Whitworth mechanism. Here we have a different parts. This is the sliding block. This is sliding block. This is called a crank plate. Okay, there is a slot in the crank plate, and slider is moving in the slotted crank plate. Okay, and this crank plate is pivoted at point S. Okay, and the end point of the crank plate is connected to the connecting rod. That connecting rod is connected to the ram of the shaper. So these are the parts of the Whitworth mechanism. See this. Now you see the parts of the Whitworth mechanism. See this. Here, this is the pinion which is connected to the motor, and this is the bull gear which is rotated with the help of pinion, and this is crank. Okay, this is connecting rod. Actually, this is the crank plate. Okay, and there is a slot in the crank plate. Okay, this is connecting rod. The end of the connecting rod is connected to the ram. Okay, the slider is moving in the crank plate. Okay, this is return stroke. This is forward stroke. Return stroke is takes less time when compared with the forward stroke, because the angle covered by the slider is less when compared with the forward stroke. See this. This is the beta, that is the angle covered in the return stroke. Alpha is the angle covered in the forward stroke. The angle is beta is less when compared with the alpha. That's why, okay, return stroke is quick when compared with the cutting stroke, because the return stroke is idle stroke. So we will take the less time for the return stroke. That is our advantage to us. Okay. In this way, the mechanism is converting the rotary motion into reciprocating motion of the ram. Okay. See this animation of the crank and slotted lever mechanism and Whitworth mechanism. See this forward stroke, return stroke. Forward stroke takes more time and return stroke takes less time because small angle covered. This is called crank and slotted lever mechanism. See this. Next, this is the Whitworth mechanism. Here, this is the crank plate. Blue color is crank plate. This is the connecting rod. Green color is connecting rod. Okay, it converts the rotary motion into reciprocating motion for the shaper machine. These two are called quick return mechanisms. Okay, next topic is cams. Okay, cam is a mechanical rotating element is used to convert the motion from one form to another form. Cams are widely used in the industries because cam mechanism is very popular. Okay, and cam is nothing but is a curved surface or grooved surface, and which makes the follower, and it transmits the motion to the follower. Okay, means the cams may be rotating or slide or a translation motion. Both have cam has both rotational and translation motion according to the application, and follower may be rotating or reciprocating or oscillating depending on the application of the mechanisms. Okay, and these cams are used for making the complex motions, and these cam mechanisms are used in different industries like IC engines, automatic machines, and printing machines, spinning machines. Okay, textile industries. We have wide applications for the cam mechanisms. This is very popular mechanism. Okay, and we are using different cams and followers for getting different motions and different for fulfilling the different applications. Okay, now we see the different applications of the different types of the cams. See this. Okay, this is IC engine. Here, opening and closing of the valves is caused with the help of cams. This is the cam. Okay, cam is a mechanical rotating element here. Okay, it transmits rotary motion into reciprocating motion. The reciprocating motion of the valves causes closing and opening of the valves. Okay, this is the application of cams in IC engines. Okay, the rotation of cam is done with the help of the drive from the IC engine, means it takes the power from IC engines. Okay, here cams are used for opening and closing of the cams. What happened? Okay, now we see the different types of cams. Okay, we have different types of cams: wedge cams and flat cams and cylindrical cams. See this. This is the wedge cam. Here, the translatory motion of the cam means the cam is moving leftward and rightward. That causes the translatory motion of the cam causes the reciprocating motion of the follower. Means the cam is moving in this direction, left and right, and the follower moving up and down. This is called wedge cam. Here, this is called disc cam. Here, the cam is rotating. The cam is revolving. The rotation of the cam is converted into reciprocating motion of the follower. Means cam is rotating and the follower is reciprocating up and down. These two are the cylindrical cams. Means here we have a grooved surface. Means the rotation of the cylinder causes the oscillation in the follower. Means the follower is reciprocating leftward and rightward. Here the cam is rotating. Here see this. Here this is also one cylinder cam. Here the cylinder is rotating, and here the follower is oscillating. Just it takes oscillations. Okay. This wedge cam, disc cam, this is cylinder cam. I will show the animations later. Okay, and we have two more cams, that is conical cams. Here, this is the conical cam. The cam is in the shape of conic. Okay, the rotation of the conical cam causes the linear motion of the follower, means it is reciprocating to the leftward and rightward. And these two are the globoidal cams. Here, this is the convex type, this is concave type. Here, this cam, the rotation of the cam causes the oscillations in the follower, And we have different types of followers. Okay, knife edge follower, roller follower, and flat faced follower, mushroom follower, and spherical faced follower, and offset follower and oscillating followers. These are the different types of followers. This is knife edge follower, means follower has a knife edge. The disadvantage of this follower is it is where the wear is very high for knife edge follower. And this is the roller follower, means here the follower has at end we have a roller, means the roller is rotating. The problem with this follower is there is a chance for jamming of the roller. Let's restrict the motion of the follower. And this is the flat faced follower. Okay, the advantage of flat faced follower is it can avoid the side thrust, means the force in the lateral direction may be restricted by using this follower. And this is the mushroom follower. Okay, by using the mushroom follower shape is like this. Okay, we can get the less wear and we can avoid the thrust. Okay, side thrust, and we have some advantages with the mushroom follower. And this is the spherical follower, means the at the end of the shape of the follower is in spear shape. Okay, we can avoid the wear and we can get some advantages with spherical follower. This is the offset follower, means the rotating part center, the follower is offset from the rotating center of the cam, means there is a offset some distance between the center of the rotation of the cam and follower axis. This is called offset follower. And these are the oscillating followers, means the cam is rotating, but here get the oscillations in the follower, means the follower is oscillating about that certain point, pivot point. Okay, here also we have different types of followers. This is spherical faced, flat faced, and roller faced. Okay, here the followers are oscillating for the rotation of the cam. Okay, now see the animations for better understanding of all these cams. First one is convex cam, means is the globoidal cam. Here the cam is rotating. There is a groove in the cam that causes the oscillation of the follower. This is the globoidal cam. That is convex type. This is the convex type. There is a groove in the globoidal cam. Okay, the follower is moving along with the groove that causes oscillatory motion in the follower. This is convex shape. Next one is concave shape. This is also globoidal cam. Here we have a groove, but the cam is in concave shape, and that is also causes the rotation of the cam into oscillator. Okay, and the follower follows the groove of the cam. Next one, cylindrical cam. See this. Here, this is the cam is in the shape of cylinder. We have a groove in the cam. Okay, and the follower is following the groove of the cam that causes the reciprocating motion of the follower. Means here rotary motion is converted into reciprocating motion. This is called cylindrical cam. Spherical cam. See this. Cam is in the shape of sphere. Okay, it has a groove and thus okay, the follower follows the groove. Means here the rotary motion is converted into oscillatory motion. Next, flat cam. See this. Here the cam is moving in translation direction that converts the reciprocating motion of the follower. Means here the cam is moving leftward and rightward, and follower is moving upward and downward. Next one is wedge cam. Okay, see this. The translatory motion of the cam causes the reciprocating motion of the follower. For restoring the position of the follower we are arranging a spring. This is wedge type cam. Spiral cam. Okay, this is called spiral cam, means the cam shape is like a gear wheel type. Okay, it follows the tooth profile of the cam. Okay, next, radial cam. This is the regular cam. You can know the rotation of the cam causes reciprocating motion of the follower. This is radial cam, causes the radial motion of the follower. Now we see the types of followers. Oscillating follower. Here follower is oscillating. Next, reciprocating follower. Here the follower is reciprocating. According to the motion, followers are two types: oscillating followers and reciprocating followers. Now we see the according to shape. Here the follower shape, end shape of the follower is like a knife edge. And roller follower means here the end of the follower is roller. We have a roller at the end of the follower. Mushroom follower means the shape of the follower at the end of the follower is like mushroom. Okay, based on the shape of the end of the follower, we have different followers. We have different advantages with the different shapes. Spherical shape means end of the follower is like a spear or hemisphere type shape. Okay, these are the different types of followers and cams. Okay, and you know, displacement diagram. Okay, already you have drawn different displacement diagrams in previous classes. No, I don't want to explain this. Just I want to show the displacement diagram. Here we have a three cases: rise, return, and dwell period. Okay, in rise period, okay, the follower is rising. Okay, so to certain distance. Okay, return follower means the follower is to come to the return position. Okay, and dwell period means there is no movement in the follower. Okay, already you have drawn these displacement diagrams in previous classes and drawing halls also. So you know much aware of the displacement diagrams and working of the cams. Okay, I want to unmute you. If you have any doubts regarding cams and mechanisms, you can ask me. Sir, if you have any doubts, please ask me. You can unmute yourself. I think మీకు అందరికీ తెలుసమ్మా ఇవి జస్ట్ మీకు ఆల్రెడీ సిలబస్ లో ఉంది కాబట్టి పరిచయం చేస్తున్నాను. ఓకే, ఆల్రెడీ మీకు తెలుసు కాబట్టి నేను స్పీడ్ అప్ చేస్తున్నాను అంతే. మీకు తెలిసినవి జస్ట్ ఒకసారి గుర్తు చేస్తున్నాను. ఓకే, ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఎనీ డౌట్స్ ప్లీజ్ ఆస్క్ మీ రిగార్డింగ్ cams and mechanisms. Already you have learned all these inversions of mechanisms and cams in kinematics of machines and dynamics of machines. So just time remind those 101 members, just one left now. Okay, next one is gears. Okay, I think you know about gears. Gears are the mechanical elements which transmit the motion by means of successively engaging teeth. Means gear is a mechanical element which has some teeth, okay, at the periphery. Okay, these are used for transmitting the motion between the shafts, two shafts. Okay, means one shaft it transmits the motion from one shaft to another shaft by means of successively engaging the teeth. Okay, in previous case initially we have friction gears, friction wheels, but the main disadvantage of the friction wheel is there is a slip. There is a possibility for the slip. For avoiding the slip in the friction wheels, we are uh, arranging the teeth at the periphery of the wheels. Means by engaging the teeth, we can transmit the motion from the one shaft to another shaft. Okay, and we have a relation between the speed of the one wheel gear wheel to other gear wheel. This by that is depending on the radius of the wheels. Okay, the speed of the gear wheel is depending on the radius of the wheel. This is the relationship between the angular velocity and radius and the speed of the gear wheels between the gear wheels. See this, you know all these things. Now we see the different types of gears. Main purpose of gear is to transmit the motion from one shaft to another shaft. Here now we see the different types of gears. Okay, we have a classification here according to relative positions of the axis. Okay, axis of the shaft, based on the position of the axis of the shaft, we can classify it into different types. First we see the first classification, that is based on the parallel shafts. If the shafts are connected by with the help of gears, two parallel shafts are connected, if you transmit the motion from one shaft to another shaft, and then when the two shafts are parallel, then the gears are classified into spur gears, helical gears, and herringbone gears. Say this. Okay, here the two shafts are parallel. The two shafts are parallel. Okay, then the two shafts are, the motion is transmitted from one shaft to other shaft by using helical gears. This is the helical gear, and this is the herringbone gears. Herringbone gear means there is arrangement like this, means a fabric arrangement. Means the gears are engaged like this, like fabric. The thread in this fabric shape. Okay, means a special arrangement is this. Here, there, those gears are called herringbone gears. Helical gears means the teeth are has some certain angle. Okay, so based on the parallel shafts, we can classify the gears into spur gears, helical gears, and herringbone gears. I will show the animation later. Next, if the gears shafts are intersecting, in previous case shafts are parallel, now shafts are intersecting. Okay, then classified into two types, straight bevel gears and spiral bevel gears. See this, here this is the one shaft, axis of the shaft, this is the second axis of the shaft, both are intersecting here. So then the gears motion is transmitted from one shaft to other shaft, both shafts are intersecting. Okay, here is in this arrangement we can classify it into two types. This is bevel gears. Okay, second one is spiral gears. The difference is here the teeth are straight, here the teeth has certain angle. Okay, then those gears are called spiral bevel gears. Okay, here we are transmitting the motion from one shaft to other shaft, but the position of the shafts are intersecting, both are in axis of the two shafts are intersecting in different directions, and non-parallel and non-intersecting. Okay, here we can classify into three types. Okay, here the shafts are non-parallel and non-intersecting. Okay, then the classification is three types. One is spiral gears. Okay, second one is worm and worm gear, and third one is hypoid gear. Okay, here the shaft is not parallel, and at the same time there is no intersection between the axes of the two shafts. Then gears are three types. This is spiral. Here the shaft is not parallel, at the same time there is no intersection between the shafts, axes of the shafts. Okay, these are classified into three types: spiral, worm and worm gear, and hypoid gears. Okay, next, according to type of the contact between the surfaces, we can classify into three types. One is external gears. Okay, second one is internal gears, and third one is rack and pinion. Third one is rack and pinion. Based on the contact surface, we can classify it into three types. One is external, internal, and rack and pinion type. Now we see the animation of all these gears for better understanding. Okay, first one is spur gear. It's a simple gear. Okay, this is spur gear, means it has a straight teeth. It has straight teeth. Okay, these are used to transmit the motion between the two shafts when two shafts are parallel. Here two shafts are parallel, the axis of the shafts are parallel, then we can use spur gears. Next one is spiral gears. Means we have a certain angle for teeth. We don't, the teeth are not straight. Okay, it has certain angle. Then it is called spiral gears. Next, bevel gears. These are the bevel gears. Bevel gears are used, okay, for transmitting the drive from the one shaft to other shaft when the shafts are not parallel. Here the shafts are not parallel, these are intersecting. The axis of the two shafts are intersecting here. Rack and pinion mechanism. Here the rotary motion of the gear is converted into linear motion. Okay, here we have a two parts. One is rack and pinion. This is the pinion, you know, and this is the rack, means the teeth in linear way. Means here we are converting the rotary motion into linear motion. Worm and worm gears. Means here the shafts are not parallel and not intersecting. Here also the rotary motion is converted into linear motion. Okay, here the worm has a spiral type teeth. Okay, and here we have a spur gear. This is worm, wheel and worm. Okay, here we are converting the rotary motion into linear motion. Okay, later we see gear trains. Okay, I think you know all these types of gears: spur gears, helical gears, okay, bevel gears, okay, rack and pinion mechanism, and worm gears mechanism. Everything you know already you have learned in previous classes. Okay, and one more thing you have to learn about gears is terminology, that is nomenclature of the gears. I think you know, just I will just remind some things. See this, these are the gear teeth. Okay, the here the this is the pitch circle diameter. This is the pitch circle diameter, means this is the imaginary circle, okay, which is by rolling action would give the same motion as the actual gear. Means suppose this is the pitch circle and the top part of the above the pitch circle is called addendum. The top part of the gear teeth is called addendum and bottom part is called dedendum. And the gears, while engaging the gears, there is a clearance between the root and the flank of face of the other gear. This is called clearance. Okay, this is the side, this is the face of the teeth, and this is the land, top land and bottom land. Okay, and this is the thickness of the teeth, and the corresponding distance between the two corresponding points of the two teeth is called circular pitch. You know what is pitch. Okay, and the circle which is going in the bottom of the teeth is root circle. Okay, and circle which is going top part of the teeth is called addendum circle. Okay, this is the face, this is the flank. Okay, you know everything about this gears. Okay, you have already learned. Okay, you know pitch circle and pitch. What is we have three types of pitch: circular pitch, diametral pitch and modular pitch. Okay, pitch is nothing but pi d by z. Z is the number of teeth, pi d is the circumference of the circle. Okay, and the reciprocal of this, okay, z by d is nothing but diameter pitch. Okay, reciprocal of the diameter pitch is modular pitch. Okay, and you know addendum circle, addendum, dedendum circle, dedendum, clearance, total depth, okay, working depth, everything. Okay, I don't want to waste time here because you well aware of all those things. Okay, tooth thickness, tooth space, backlash, okay, face width, top line, bottom line, face flanks, okay, all those things you know. Okay, just by reading you can grasp everything, I think. Okay, that's why I'm avoiding all those things. Okay, once you read you can recollect everything about nomenclature of the gears. Okay, we have basic knowledge. We don't get any questions regarding nomenclature of the gears, gear tooth, regarding all those things in the mechatronics. You don't get any questions about the nomenclature, but they can ask the different elements of the mechanical actuating systems like. Okay, that's why I'm not concentrating much on these things. Okay, once you can read you can recollect everything. Next one is gear trains. Okay, what is gear train? You know, gear train is the combination of two or more gears. Gear train is the combination of two or more gears used to transmit the motion from the one shaft to another shaft. We have different types of gear trains: simple gear train, compound gear train, reverted gear train, and planetary gear train. Okay, simple gear train. This is the simple gear train. We have the here we have three gears. Okay, the motion from the first gear is converted into transmitted to second gear to third. Means here it is the rotating clockwise direction. Okay, it is in anti-clockwise direction. Again we get clockwise direction at third gear. It's the simple gear train. Okay, and here the overall gear ratio we have to calculate the gear ratio. Okay, this is the gear ratio between the first two things, first wheel and second wheel. Okay, angular velocity of the first wheel and second wheel is depending on the teeth on the wheel. So W1 omega 1 by omega 2 is equal to T2 by T1, and for second and third gear omega 2 by omega 3 is equal to T3 by T2. Okay, the combination of these two gives omega 1 by omega 3 is equal to T3 by T1. Overall gear ratio is equal to speed of the driver by speed of the driven, number of teeth on the driven by number of teeth on the driver. Means overall gear teeth, we have number of teeth on the third gear. This is the driven, this is the driver. Okay, overall gear ratio you get by teeth of the driven, teeth of the driver. Okay, next, compound gear trains. Here these there are two or more gears on one shaft. Means one shaft has two or more gears, then it is called compound gear train. Okay, here also we have a gear ratio we are calculating here. I will show animation of these gear trains. Next, reverted gear train. Okay, first I will show the animation, later I will explain about these things. See this, because we have less time. First I will show the gear trains. This is a simple gear train. Okay, one shaft has only one gear. See this, means we have one gear on one shaft. Okay, the drive is transmitted from one gear to second gear to third gear to fourth gear. If you arrange the gears like this, it is called simple gear train. Compound gear train means one shaft has two gears. See this, here the shaft has two gears. Okay, if one shaft consists of more than one gear, then it is called compound gear train. Means the rotation from the first gear is transmitted to second gear to the shaft, second gear, next gear on this shaft. Means this clockwise rotation, this is anti-clockwise again. Okay, it is converted into clockwise. Means every shaft, if shaft has more than one gear, then it is called compound gear train.